Hey guys, welcome to today's reading and thank you guys all for tuning into my channel again. So you guys, today I have 3 groups for you to choose from. So I want you to choose the groups intuitively. I want you to meditate on the cards. I want you to just let your intuition tell you which card to choose. And the timestamps are down below in the description box so you can fast forward to the group that you chose. And I always like to remind you that if you can't decide between 2 groups, maybe you're going to want to watch 2 different groups just because your reading may be a mixture of the 2 different groups, so keep that in mind when you're picking one. That's all I have for my intro. I want to get straight into the reading. Hi everyone, welcome to today's reading. I hope you guys are all doing well. So these are the 3 groups that we have for today. This is group number 1, then we have group number 2 and group number 3. So if you need time to just quickly meditate on which card you want to pick, feel free to pause this video. And as already mentioned, the timestamps will be down below, so whichever group you pick, you can just fast forward to that particular reading. Okay, so group number 1. So we have the 4 of Wands, the King of Swords, the 6 of Wands, and the 9 of Swords. So one thing that I see in November that you did not expect was a lot of celebrating. I see a lot of celebration in the 4 of Wands. I see a very positive time, and it's not so much about who you're celebrating with, it's more about the celebration itself. And you want to make that time count. So what I see is that there might be a little bit of tension with you and, you know, whoever you're at this party with, at this celebration, at this event. You might have some tension or some insecurities about going there because of like specific people that are going to be there. But I want you to let go of that and know that you just want to live in the moment, celebrate the moment, and not overthink too much. So in the 4 of Wands, I see a very like balanced, nice celebration if you let it happen. Then the King of Swords, I see that someone in your life is very wise, very authoritative, probably maybe older than you, and they're not a very emotional person. So I see that they're going to play a big role in November. They might be giving you some sort of advice or wisdom, or you might even have a verbal sort of a verbal miscommunication with them. And I just want to tell you that whoever this person of like an authoritative nature is in your life that you might have this miscommunication with, don't try and play the sob story or try and play on emotions, because this person isn't like a very emotional person. This person is very matter of fact. Intellect is important to them as well as intelligence, and you know, they're a very how should I say, they might be a bit of like a distance, cold person. So approach everything very like rationally and tactfully and leave your emotions out of it. So I see in the 6 of Wands in November, you may not have expected as much support from someone or a specific group of people. You may not have expected all of that community, all of that love, all of that like embracing, but it's there and it's happening. So what you need to do in November is make sure that you give everyone the credit they deserve. So if you did sort of like, if something was a team effort and it went well for you, don't forget all of the people who were part of it in November. And then another thing that I see coming for you that you may not have expected for November is I see that you will be very restless. The 9 of Swords shows me that, you know, maybe you're having nightmares or some sort of like heightened anxiety and you're having trouble dealing with that. So that's what I see coming in November for you. But since you already know that that might be the case for you, you know, you can already sort of start programming yourself to deal with that situation better. So for instance, if you know that you have like a big exam coming up, or it's going to be a stressful time at work, you can start to like pre-do work so that you don't end up in a situation of turmoil, or you know, just restlessness and feeling a lot of anxiety. So if you can already do something now to sort of prevent that anxiety, that is what I would recommend for you to do, because if not, I feel like it's going to be a lot harder than you expected. Then rhodocrosite. I see that you're going to be going through a lot. I see that, you know, these gatherings may be a bit stressful. You may feel under pressure by somebody in your life. And I see that you are going to take time to heal and recover. You're going to take time to be by yourself. You may want to just think about your actions and think about the decisions that you're making. And I see that, you know, you're going to retract a little bit from the world in November. And that is maybe something that you don't usually do, but you're going to work on yourself internally in November. So another unexpected thing in November that I see for you is that you'll have a lot of spiritual protection. So I see that your spirit guides, that the universe is going to be there for you a lot more than you ever expected. So I see that physically, emotionally, and energetically, you're going to somehow have like a shield around yourself. And there's going to be that extra layer of protection that you usually might not have. So I see that spiritually you're going to be in a really good place and you're going to feel very taken care of by the universe. Then I also see that you're going to be extremely sensitive during this time. You're going to be very emotional, and I see that tying in with rhodocrosite, you need to give yourself that extra self-care and gentleness. I see that you need to be easy on yourself in November, and I see that your like extra emotional self in November may get in the way if you don't sort of control it. So I definitely see heightened emotions, but at the same time I see that you have control, that you have like any sort of help that you need, you have advice there for you. So make sure that your emotions don't get the best of you, because I see a tendency to that may be happening if you're very emotional. So it's like a gentle warning for November. Then gold, divine intervention. So I see that, you know, there are going to be things sent your way in November that you didn't expect. I see a lot of blessings coming your way. I see a lot of your prayers are going to be answered. A lot of things that you were maybe in despair about, I see that they're all sort of going to unfold and work out for the better. I see that you having this spiritual protection and having your support system alongside with celebration, I feel like that kind of cancels the Nine of Swords out if you take care of yourself properly. And also the universe is gonna like divinely intervene in your life. You're going to see all of these little beautiful things that are blossoming. And overall I see that November is a time that is going to be very fruitful, but I see that you're going to have to be gentle with yourself and have your emotions under control. Okay, so what I instantly see in the High Priestess is that this is a time that of a lot of mystery within yourself, a lot of you trying to go deeper than the surface. I'm going to see that in November you're going to go places that you don't usually like to explore. I see that you're going to explore the light side of yourself as well as the dark side, if that makes any sense. You're going to explore the good as well as the bad. And you may be usually like an overly optimistic person, but November is really like a time where I can see that you're going to dig deep and go like beyond the surface. At the same time, I see that in the Five of Wands, there may be a bit of like an ego battle. I also see that, you know, there is competition and you may be competing with something unrealistic. I see that your self-confidence may take a hit, and I don't even see competition as necessarily being like another person that you know. In this day and age, you know, social media can do really horrible things to your self-esteem, and I see that you may be battling with that in November, and it's something that you may not like expect to affect you in such like a heavy way, but I see that it may do that. So you want to make sure that you're not comparing yourself to anyone on the internet. Make sure that, you know, you remain true to yourself, and remember that you're not competing with anyone. The only person you should be competing with is yourself. The only person you want to be better than is who you were yesterday. So at the same time, in the Lovers, I see a relationship that is questionable. So you're questioning what the intentions are of this person that's in your life. And it may be that someone is going to come in your life in November. It may be that this person was already in your life before, but you're questioning whether their intentions are pure or whether they're there for a reason, whether they're just there for you, you know, physically, or there's basically something for them to gain. You're going to be questioning that in the Lovers. So that's something that I see happening in November. So in the Ten of Swords, I see that you may have been worrying about something, something may have been frustrating you, and I see that it's going to come to an end in November, and you're going to have a new beginning. The sun is going to come back up. You're going to be able to have a fresh start and let bygones be bygones. So that is what I see in November. So we have the clear quartz. So I see that in November, you're really going to embrace, you know, the High Priestess and the clear quartz. You're going to explore yourself emotionally, and you're just going to let your emotions flow. You're just going to let your feelings flow. You're going to not discriminate anything that you're feeling, and you're going to be unapologetically yourself. And that is something that you're going to love about yourself in November. And that is something that I see that's kind of unexpected, because, you know, you may feel like you're somehow in competition, but at the same time, I'll see that you'll know that it's fine to feel all of these emotions, that they don't necessarily need to have a greater impact. You're going to know that emotions are just that. They're just emotions. So whether you're feeling sad or happy, you're going to look at things from a distance, and you're going to enjoy just getting to know yourself better. And then another thing that I see that you might not have expected, you might feel like November is too soon. So this comes very unexpected, and it's forgiveness. Forgiving yourself for being hard on yourself, forgiving, you know, that ex-boyfriend, forgiving the person who hurt you. I feel like you'll think that it's really early, but it's not. I see you forgiving because you know that anger and feeling hurt is just blocking your health and your happiness. It's just in the way of you achieving the best you. So I see you definitely forgiving and owning your divine power. I see that, you know, you're gonna let go of any codependencies that you thought you couldn't let go of right now. And also something that I see that you may not have thought would happen is I will see that you're going to reach a new height of assertiveness and empowerment. So if you already feel pretty empowered now, I see that you're going to reach a new level of empowerment that you never thought you would. And, you know, if you don't feel very empowered and you don't feel very confident right now, I see that you're going to have an unexpected confidence boost in November. I feel like a lot of coincidences that come together and you somehow just can't explain them. I feel like they're going to give you that boost of confidence that makes you believe that your spirits and the universe have your back. And you're gonna get exactly the amount of confidence that you need to push forward and have a successful rest of November. Then we have Unakite, answered prayers. So I see that you've been working really hard, and I see that all of your prayers are going to be answered. I see that you're going to be rewarded in November, and you're going to have far larger rewards than you ever expected. And I see that, you know, you continuing doing all this great work and putting in that extra effort. I see that if you continue doing that, November will have a lot of unexpected ways and doors open, and you're gonna take the back door many times. So instead of waiting in line in the front with everyone else, I feel like the positivity that is radiating through you in November and the hard work that you're putting in is going to open those back doors that are going to get you to your goals a lot quicker than if you would have been in a negative headspace. So unexpectedly, I see November be a lot more positive for you, and I see you working a lot more on issues than you ever thought you would. So November looks really great for you. Okay, so group number 3. We have the Hierophant, the Ten of Wands, the Eight of Cups, and Judgment. So off the bat, I see in the Hierophant that there is a discrepancy between your actions and your beliefs. So you may, for instance, be preaching a healthy lifestyle, be saying, oh, you should work out, you should eat healthy, but at the same time, you eat too much junk food and you don't work out enough. So I see that you're going to notice these discrepancies that you usually don't really think about, and you're going to truly think about, your beliefs and your actions in November. You're going to dig deep in your values and your core values, and I see that you're going to try and close that gap if there is a gap. So like I said, if you're preaching a healthy lifestyle and you're not following through, you're either going to tell yourself, you know what, forget the healthy lifestyle, I'm just going to do whatever I feel like doing, or you're going to say, well, I need to start living up to my preaching. And that is something that I see for you in November. I see that you're going to try and close that gap. Another thing I see in the Ten of Wands is that you're going to complete something. You're going to complete a large project, a big workload. You're going to take an exam. You're going to hand in something big is going to be completed, and you're going to be exhausted after that. And I see that you may have thought before this reading that you could do it all, but I see at the same time that once you've handed in that most important project in November, I see that you just need a time out. I see that you may be overestimating how much energy you'll really have after you've completed, and I see that you need to take that day, you need to take that nap, you need to take a little bit of a time out to recuperate, because November is going to be truly busy. Also emotionally, I see that something may have drained you, something may have taken a lot out of you, and in November I see that you're fed up and you're walking away from something that you feel is done. You can tell that you've gotten everything out of what it is that you could, and now you're kind of over it and you're walking away from it. So emotionally, I see that you may be in a situation where you need to decide, and I see that you're going to decide to step away and move on to new ventures. In Judgment, I see that, something is over. You're going to definitely be, judging your values, yourself. I see that you're going to judge your old life philosophies, and I see that you're going to notice that maybe you've been too hard on yourself and other people. I feel like you're going to need a new sort of philosophy and a new sort of view. And I see that you're going to judge whatever happened in the past, and you're going to leave it at that and move forward with a new sort of outlook and philosophy. So that is something that I see happening unexpectedly. So another thing for you in November is there's going to be a lot of socializing. You're going to enter new supportive friendships and connections, and you're going to get involved with groups of like-minded people. And this doesn't need to be a physical group. This can be a group online. For instance, just card reading, it's a community. So I see that you're going to socialize in a way, be it online or in person. You might take like a different workout class. You might join one of your friends to a party with people that you didn't know before. You might establish like a new sort of connection, and I see a lot of like socializing, a lot of mingling, a lot of you being more outgoing than you usually are. So that is what I see unexpectedly in November. Then I see unnecessary worries. So I see that you're either going to hold on to unnecessary worries a lot more, or you're going to start letting them go. But overall, I see that unnecessary worries are going to be a part of November, and I feel like There are going to be worries that you may have never had before, and they're just going to be so tiny and trivial and unnecessary that, you know, it doesn't really make sense to hold on to them. So I see that any sort of worries that you have, I see that you should just throw them into the universe, just throw them out to your spirit, and they will deal with that for you. I see that this is not a time for you to be looking for solutions to little things that aren't really that important to your life, because as I already said, you have a lot going on. You have something that needs to be completed in November, and at the same time you're dealing, you know, with yourself spiritually, emotionally. You're reevaluating your beliefs. So unnecessary worries are something that are going to pop up for you in November, but I say, like, just put them aside. Like, you already know they're going to happen. You've seen the reading. So make sure that when unnecessary worries do show up, that you just ignore them and give them to your higher power to sort. Then we have turquoise. So I see that your spiritual path is, you're going to have sort of an enlightenment. I see that you questioning some of the beliefs that you have, you questioning your belief system. I see that everything is going to clear up for you. Everything is going to be crystal clear, like, you know, the ocean on a beautiful calm day. You're going to see the bottom. That's what I see happening for you unexpectedly in November. You're going to come to the bottom of things, and you're going to make those necessary life changes that you didn't think of making before. So I see you spiritually really having an enlightenment and getting to the bottom of things that you didn't already expect to get to the bottom of. So something that I see that you may not expect in November is how much stress reduction you really need to do. So I see you needing to de-stress your mind, body, and soul. You're going to have to free up your schedule and rest. You need to recharge, you know, retrieve your energy from wherever you've left it. So I see that you're going to have to do a lot more recharging than you thought you would. And I see that stress reduction is going to come great for you if you're outdoor. I see a lot of green. I see a lot of you being outdoors. I see that that will do a great deal for you, and also saying no to certain things. So you may have a lot of social events going on, or a lot of like work that you could do, extra work, or like extra events that aren't necessary. And I see that in order to reduce stress, you're going to have to say no to certain things. Because don't forget, each time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. So each time you say yes to filling up your social schedule, you're saying no to recharging and refreshing. So take that time to rest. Say no to being overly busy, and say yes to really making the best of your spiritual path and, you know, gaining that clarity. Say yes to your clarity in November, because the rewards of saying yes to your clarity are going to be far larger than you ever expected. So I see how a lot of stress reduction is going to work wonders for you in November. Okay, you guys, so that was it for today's reading. I hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to thumbs this video up and subscribe to see future readings. And yeah, I wish you guys all an amazing, wonderful day, and I will see you guys in my next reading.